What is up, guys? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to my Flash Season 4 finale review. And now, this, I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to go out and say that I didn't think that this was the best finale ever. Now, bear in mind, I'm not shitting on this at all. I love this show. It's just, however, I really wanted them to pull out of the bag with the finale like they did it with a few episodes this season. And you guys know what episodes I'm on about if you've been watching my reviews. But yeah, I honestly can't ignore it. There were definitely good parts about this finale, but it was far from amazing. I wouldn't even say it was that good. I'm kind of in between okay and good. I definitely don't think it was bad. But there was some elements that, I don't know what else to say then. I just didn't find it that great. And I guess, you know, what can I draw from that? Disappointment. I guess I'm disappointed. But hey, what can I say? This whole season has been very disappointing with me. But I guess before I say any more, let's talk about the specifics, what I liked, what I didn't like. And then we can discuss it together in the comment section down below. But if you want to see more Flash videos in the off season and in season 5 and all kinds of comic book nerdy videos and everything like that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And also like this video if you do go on to enjoy it. So at the beginning of the episode, the Age of Enlightenment has begun because obviously in the last episode, DeVoe got the Starlab satellite and everything is going to hell in Central City. I quite like how we had Captain Singh as well, tease that Barry has got his kind of job back after the help from Iris, and he spoke to the mayor and everything like that. It was just kind of setting up for, like, I guess, you know, if anyone was to say, oh, plot hole, how did he get his job back next season? Well, I guess he's kind of, this was the openingness to that. It also got revealed in this episode, but it may have already been obvious to some, that Harry was actually DeVoe's guinea pig, really. Like, he kind of knew this was going to happen to Harry, and if anything, he was just testing it out, and, you know, Harry did have his mind rebooted, and he was the Thinker's kind of first subject into what all of humanity could be like if he had succeeded with his Age of Enlightenment plan. And I have to admit, it was quite sad seeing Harry really, how do I put it, like, dumbed down and simple, just wasn't himself, you know, was saying all kinds of things, and that's what I really found interesting in this episode. He was saying, and this was obviously earlier on, we got a reveal later, but he was saying what like the stars are falling and the gleam, sheen, and things like that, all the rhymes that Barry was saying at the beginning of the episode. And I liked all this stuff. It was very interesting, and don't get me started on, well, I guess I will talk about it a little bit later, but when he was hugging Cisco and stuff like that, oh man. But anyway, the main kind of gist of what they wanted to do in this episode was go in DeVoe's mind and appeal to the good in him, or just try and get that part of DeVoe to take over DeVoe to stop, you know, his evil side from just completely taking over and wiping out humanity's, you know, just, I guess, intelligence, and rebooting them just like Harry is. Because this is also one thing we've always known this season as well, and the thing I've actually quite liked about the villain this season is that he's been relatable. We've seen him at his best. We've seen him as a normal human being with Marlize, and I love that. It makes the villain so much more interesting and helps us understand his motivations more. So I kind of liked that in the sense of DeVoe's mind when Barry entered it. But then we found out that DeVoe, the good DeVoe in there, was actually dead. So it's just like, what are we gonna do? What is plan B? But just rewinding back a couple of seconds, I like how Barry mentioned before he entered DeVoe's mind and in the chair, you know, why can't we just get Oliver and Kara to help or something like that? And then Marlize, because obviously Marlize was helping in this episode, said that, you know, a part of all the bus meta's powers was a part of the plan, and how he would be prepared to take down anyone Barry would enlist, like Kara, you know, even Supergirl and the Green Arrow and stuff like that. Now, I know that was obvious, and I've said this before, and the kind of obvious response to this is, well, technically any season you could always enlist the Super Friends help, and then it's just like story over, right? But I'm glad they still answered that, because it is always just like, why not ruin the story short and just get Supergirl over to F shit up? But no, there is a very logical reason for that, because the Thinker is OP as hell, and he probably could just ground Supergirl to the ground with that gravity kind of power he has. So yeah. But in the mind world that Barry enters, he finds Ralph, and this is actually the real Ralph, because if you think about it, you know, they did get absorbed. Now I'm wondering if, because we didn't see the other metahumans, is that because Ralph got absorbed and technically the Thinker is using his body, does that mean he's kind of still around in there, as opposed to the other metas who just had their powers absorbed? Maybe they're dead. But if not, then why didn't we see the other metas? Obviously screen time and stuff like that, maybe there's not enough. time to fit in everything in this episode, and that's one thing I want to talk about as well, because we didn't get the kind of tease for next season's villain, and I want to say a bit about that. But yeah, let me know what you think about the metahumans. Do you think Ralph was different than all the other ones who got absorbed? Are all the other ones dead? Let me know in the comments below. Now, the thing about this episode as well, I would just say it's kind of anticlimactic, or it's just underwhelming. I wasn't that amazed, if I'm being completely honest with you, with the whole Matrix thing that was going on. They really did kind of get inspired by the Matrix there, whether that's, if you've seen the old Matrix films, where there was loads of Agent Smiths, and that's exactly what happened with DeVoe, Barry, and there was parts of me that liked this in a comic booky way, but when he was like swinging Ralph around, that didn't exactly happen in the Matrix or anything, but it kind of reminded me of like how loads of Smiths were being knocked out and around, just like the DeVoes were, and it was just a bit too silly and stuff like that for me, and I just didn't. I think it's because I have a bit of a stigma with Ralph anyway. I like him and I don't like him, but overall I think I haven't liked him so much as a season whole. And then all of that, I just thought, this isn't cool, really. Like, this isn't as cool as other season finales, in my opinion. Like, it's okay, but it's not amazing, and it's not even that great, but it's okay for me. I'm not saying it's terrible, but yeah, I'm not hating on it, but it's just okay. There are other bits, and I'm just wondering if this is me being too picky because of TV logic, but when Barry just said to Ralph, oh, let's stop right before the portal, talk to Ralph and say, hey Ralph, you just need to run through that portal, I think, and then everything will be okay. And then it's just like, because they stopped there and had that conversation, instead of just Barry running in the portal, a load of DeVoes turned up, and even though, they made a dramatic thing of it, and Barry was jumping over all the different DeVoes, and they did make it through, they defeated DeVoe, it just makes me think, how stupid do they think or make the viewer feel? I feel sometimes. I just felt like, go in the freaking portal, Barry. Oh, I don't know. It just, stuff like that winds me up. It's like, hey, let's pause right before the thing that can sort out everything, just so, I don't know, the evilness of the season, the villain, whatever you want to call it, comes and presents itself, and then there's another hurdle we have to get over. However, I did find the CGI and stuff like that cool, as I just said, when he was jumping over all the DeVoes. But yeah, I just felt like the whole mind world thing was a complete letdown, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But anyway, in the meantime, whilst all of this is happening in DeVoe's mind, he finds Team Flash, and I really like the scene where he's trying to get Joe to point a gun on himself, but Joe, being just the badass that he is resisting it, and is even trying to turn it on DeVoe, to the point where DeVoe has to floor him, because he's literally about to he probably would have shot him if DeVoe didn't, actually do that. So I found that pretty cool. It empowered Joe. It made him just kind of special, because I don't think anyone could really resist that power apart from just the pure will that Joe West has. And I really like that. I just love Joe anyway, so it shows the character that he has. But anyway, it just leads us to what we were just talking about. Barry kind of comes out of the chair, and then the Thinker is there just being a bit cocky, and then Ralph takes over. He's kind of glitching out, and then we get the line from Marley saying, Ralph's emotional attachment was stronger than whatever blah 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 you had, Clifford, and then Clifford was just kind of screwed, saying, you beat me, and it's just like, no, we are the Flash, beat you. I thought that was okay. I definitely knew and thought it wasn't over, especially when DeVoe slapped the back of his chair. I was like, what is happening there? And then we got that revealed too. Now, I am skipping a little bit. I don't always do things chronologically. But yeah, I feel like this is too related. So I was very happy when DeVoe popped back up in the chair. It was a very good nod to the comics in terms of how he was basically an artificial intelligence version of himself, but it got completely robbed from us. He got defeated. Like, this was the last thing we saw of DeVoe. He just got unplugged. That was it. Done, dusted, done, finito. And look at it how you will, but that kind of annoyed me. Some people, I guess, are just saying, oh, that was just cool. Like, we got to see that part of him. There's a cool nod to that part in the comics where he is evolved into an artificial intelligence. But no, that was pretty shitty, kind of abrupt finish for DeVoe, if you ask me. I thought there would be a little bit of a tease, and I thought that might have been it for the rest of the episode, with him causing even more trouble, but no, done. Just got unplugged. The Great Thinker, his backup plan was cool, but then it just got smacked, like, by Marley's, just by unplugged. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I wasn't the biggest fan of how the Thinker got defeated, especially for a second time technically within the episode. But as a kind of like a dead man switch kind of thing, when Marley's did that, it kind of had the Starlab satellite falling to Earth. in a very much more powerful way. I think he made it, way even more, so it's coming even faster. I can't remember exactly the specifics of it, but it meant big trouble, to the point where it would have caused extinction for planet Earth. Now, this bit was really cool. I love Flash moments like this. Barry was going to run up to the satellite and completely obliterate it, but at the same time, Marlize told Iris, how are we going to know that it's not going to completely destroy Barry? Now, it was really cool when Barry literally was just about to touch it, but then it kind of rewound back in time. And then we had, obviously, Mystery Girl come and help him out. And with their combined speedster punch, that completely ensured, that Barry survived. I believe we did see a little bit of the suit, like the kind of braces, or like, I don't know how to say it, van braces, that part of her suit. We didn't see whole of it. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we did get a glimpse of Mystery Girl's suit, even though we see her towards the end of the episode. I wish we could have seen the whole speedster suit. But yes, completely awesome. Loved that. I definitely think her saving or doing or kind of involving herself in this part of the timeline a bit too much with what she just did with Barry is related to what she said at the end of the episode with she may have screwed up pretty bad, but I'll talk about that in a second. But just going back to Harry for a second, oh man, when he could barely talk and then he kind of hugged Cisco. Oh my god, that broke my heart. It really did. That was the most, for me, that was the most emotional, provoking moment in the whole episode. I don't know, it was just, it was so good, so good. And then towards the end of the episode, Marlize gives a device to Team Flash that should bring Harry back, but it does, but it doesn't. It brought back Harry's kind of personality to a kind of a standard IQ level, probably to my IQ level or something like that. No way near a PhD, let alone 2 or 7. But yeah, I like the line of what he said. Everyone was just looking really like, well, you're useless now, really. I'm joking. But they were looking at him like I thought a bit too harshly. Because he was like, you brought back what matters. But they were still just like, no. But he was still emphasizing, look, it doesn't matter. I'm back now. That they all hugged out. He's essentially, I think, leaving Team Flash for now. I don't know if we're going to get Harry back. Maybe they might write in his intelligence again, but he's going to go and see Jesse. He's a lot more down to earth now. I like how he says his intelligence. The thing that's defined him his whole life is the one thing that's kind of held him back, and he's got a lot more, empathetic, really, ever since he's lost that kind of side of him. So yeah, I'm kind of happy for him, but also sad for like the team as a whole. And just addressing the Speed Force symbols for a moment, like obviously Harry was writing them down. He was saying all the stuff Barry was saying at the beginning of the season, and they even pointed that out themselves, like Iris and Cisco. A bit annoyed how they didn't really come to anything this season. Now, yes, you could argue these are all going to bleed into season 5, but still, I definitely think they abandoned a couple of plans to do with those Speed Force symbols. What do they really mean? I definitely feel like they should have included a little bit of explanation with them, a little bit more. Like, what do they really mean? Is it a language of the future? Is it a Speed Force equation, like a language of the Speed Force? But because, even the Mystery Girl was writing them down. What do they mean, guys? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below, but it's a shame that we didn't really get a concrete answer to that. But I know we will next season, but still, like, to tease them right at the beginning episode and then just make nothing of them is a bit, like, unfulfilling, I guess. Now, I definitely want to bring this up with what Cecile said when she touched Caitlin. I definitely feel like she accessed the Killer Frost there, or because she said the line of, I found Thomas. He's been this way the whole time. Now, I think that is what she said. Now, what do you think that means? Now, who is Thomas? Is that a member of Caitlin's family? Is it like a brother we don't know about? Is it Caitlin's father? Has it got anything to do with the Killer Frost flashback from where I think she got hit by that car on a bicycle? I don't know, but I definitely think this is bleeding some character development into next season that we're going to get. I would have liked a little bit of expanded story on that in this episode, but that's the only tease we got. Now, guys, at the end of the episode, we got the reveal of the baby's name, which is Jenna Marie West, I believe, and I thought, okay, so this could still possibly be the Mystery Girl, but then the Mystery Girl knocked on the door and she said, I'm your daughter, Nora Allen. So that's amazing. So does this mean that Cecile's baby could still be like a gender-flipped Daniel West reverse Flash? This could all be like, I don't know, not necessarily next season stuff, but the season afterwards. Who knows? I have no idea. There's so many things. This is what I like about a Flash. They have set up multiple different things that we can ponder. But yes, I love how she knocked on the door just after Barry was freaking out about Iris's talk of, you know, having a baby, not in the near future or anything, but Barry was just like, a baby, like now. I thought that was funny. And then obviously the mystery girl walked in and said, this house is bitchin'. So as everybody predicted, that is where that line came from pretty much. I like, you know, we can draw all kinds of things back to the beginning of the season in terms of how Barry said like Nora shouldn't be here, stuff like that. It's just all linked, so that's kind of cool. But as I mentioned, I would have still liked a bit more of an explanation on the Speed Force symbols. We got kind of a different look for the mystery girl as to what she really like, the kind of style she kind of definitely goes for. From the future, she's wearing her mother's jacket. She didn't seem so distasteful to Iris, if that makes sense, in this last scene. Now I'm wondering if the reason why she doesn't like seeing Iris a lot maybe is because maybe the reason why she ran to the present is because she might have had an argument with Iris and, like, you know, time traveled and ran to the past. I don't know, there's probably a lot more to it than that, but you have to wonder why she has been a bit salty, so to speak, to Iris in previous episodes, avoiding her no matter what the cost. I don't believe it is just because, like, she is her parent, because she had a conversation with Barry at the wedding. So I would love to know your ideas in the comments below as to in relation to that. But she said that she thinks she is screwed up very bad, or should I say in her words, in that she's made a big mistake. And maybe it isn't what I discussed earlier, but maybe it really is the fact that she helped Barry destroy that satellite. Because if you think about it, if she never did that, in the original timeline, Barry probably would have died and she would have never been born, maybe. So technically, in the way time works, maybe that always happened continuously, but technically it didn't, because technically one day she did travel back to help Barry. Do you know what I mean? This is where all that stuff gets confusing for me. But what big mistake do you think she made? Was it helping Barry destroy the satellite? Because if he did it himself, he probably couldn't have taken the brunt force of that goddamn satellite coming down to Earth that would have destroyed the whole planet in a dinosaur kind of way. Or do you think it's something else and this is the reason why she's come back to the present in the first place, and she just slowly kind of introduced herself throughout the season, and now she's made the reveal where she feels like she has to talk to her parents about it because she's just like, I need help. But yes, I actually liked that scene, loved that scene. It was all great. One of my favorite scenes in the whole episode. But the last stuff I want to talk about as well is that we were supposed to get the villain reveal kind of for the next season, or an extremely large hint for the reveal. Now, it was said that it would be one of the cliffhangers, like the guy with the lightning bolt daggers. It was a line or something like that, which would lead us to believe or speculate that it would be Cicada. Now, people are theorizing that because obviously this news broke beforehand and apparently the reception wasn't so great for it, they might have actually cut that for a deliberate reason. Now, I believe the guy, I can't remember the name of him right now, probably one of the showrunners or producers, is saying, oh, it just got cut for time. But not really. It wouldn't have been that much of a long scene. So I completely disagree with that, because they could have cut anything else in the episode to fit that tease in for the next season. And that makes a lot more sense, don't you think? Introducing or teasing that villain over just not including that scene. But he is saying that it will be released at some point, whether it is anytime soon or definitely by the time Comic-Con comes around. But you never know. Maybe because of fan feedback, they might actually be changing their plan up a little bit in terms of next season's villain. Now, this is just all like news and speculation. After the Flash episode aired, everyone was like, what about the next season Cicada villain? Where was that cliffhanger? And then we found out it was deleted for time. I don't know, guys. I would love to know your thoughts on that, because who knows? They could be changing up the villain. They could just be changing his identity a little bit more. Who knows? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. But other than that, guys, that is my review of the finale. I know it was kind of it was quite critical, but that is just because if you've been watching my reviews all season long, I have been very critical of this season. I haven't enjoyed it a whole lot, just because I truly believe it has quite changed from previous seasons. It definitely wasn't the best finale. I'm not saying I can't think right now in terms of comparing it to last year's, but I just feel like season 3 as a whole was so much more interesting with Savitar. Despite all the holes there, I'm not saying that was a perfect season at all, but with this season, this finale was underwhelming. Oh my god, the Thinker was very underwhelming in terms of how he got defeated. I love Clifford DeVoe, I love the villain this season, but the way they did it in the last episode today just wasn't that great in my opinion. I've already expressed all my thoughts, but overall it was average. I would say, like, out of 5, 1 out of 10, I would have to give it a solid, like, 5.5, 6 max. Because, at the end of the day, that may seem like a low score, but don't forget that anything above 5 is above average. Anything below it is not really good. It is below average, it is not great. So I'm giving it above average score. I'm not shitting on it, but I'm just really saying it wasn't great for me. But anyway, guys, more importantly, I would love to know your thoughts on this finale in the comments below. What did you think of it, and what did you think of this season as a whole? And let me know everything that I have asked you to talk to me about in this episode. But other than that, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and also subscribe if you're brand new with notifications turned on for more future Flash videos on season 5 and in the off season until we get the Comic Con stuff, which is going to be very exciting, but that's a little bit of a while away. Of course, I want to say thank you to all of my patrons. Link to my Patreon page is at the top of my description, as well as my social media and everything else, linked to a Discord server. But apart from that, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.